All right, class. So today we are going to talk about recruitment and selection again. Recruitment and selection. So last week we talked about criteria for selecting salespeople, and so now we're going to get into how you recruit salespeople. So, three general issues with recruitment and selection. Who is responsible? Who is responsible? What are the procedures? And then what is the actual process? So we're going to tackle each of these. So who is responsible? Well, you could put an asterisk. It depends on how big is the sales force. If you have a smaller sales force, then the sales manager may be directly responsible. The type of selling it is. So if you're only hiring a few salespeople a year, let's say for outside sales, then there are probably going to be more people involved, and it's probably going to be the sales manager, the regional sales manager, and maybe even up. The type of selling again. So if you are hiring large amounts of people, so let's say I'm Groupon and I'm in downtown Chicago and I operate primarily an inside sales force, and I hire, let's say, 50 or 60 new salespeople per year, so maybe 30 per semester, and I have college recruiters that go out and do the first series of interviews before they ever get to management. That type of selling, that would change for, based on the type of selling size of Salesforce, how many people you're hiring. So options, like I said, managers, recruiters, top executives, and so I already answered this question for you, why one over another. It just depends who you're hiring, and really it's driven by inside versus outside sales, the type of position you're hiring for, and a lot of times internal versus inside sales versus outside sales, I would say, and how large the sales force is, how many people you're hiring. So the process goes like this. One, I'm going to determine who's a part of the process and who has the ultimate responsibility. So that's my establishment of the policy. Then I'm going to look at the job. I'm going to talk to people that do the job. I'm going to look at if there is a current job description and qualifications, I'm going to look at that and evaluate it. And then I'm going to either, if none existed, I'm going to create a job description and qualifications. If one already existed, I'm going to revise, likely. Then attract people. How do you do that? Well, there are internal ways within the company and external from the company. So we're going to talk about each of these, and then what are my selection procedures? So we'll go through a structured interview versus assessments you can do, reference checks, etc. So selection criteria. One, you're going to look at the job itself. So things you're going to look at. What are the responsibilities of that position? What are they tasked with? What's on their shoulders? What falls on them? What activities are they expected to do? What objectives are they expected to achieve? Then you would write a job description using that job analysis. And further, when thinking about the job analysis, who you want to talk to is maybe the sales manager, see what they expect out of that job. And then people that are doing the job, look at, your average performers and your superstars. What do they see as their responsibilities? What does their day-to-day life look like? All of that you're going to put into a job description, and then, look at what qualifications are needed. And so your qualifications are going to be those specific traits and abilities. So you're going to use this job description, I already mentioned these things, to really create the content that goes into the description. You're going to use the analysis to create that content. So specific things you should be including. What are you selling? What type of customers are you calling on? Are they consumers? Is it B2C, B2B? What are they going to do? What are their responsibilities? Do they work with other areas of an organization? Are there any specific mental or physical demands? Environmental pressures or constraints? I'm going to come back to this example. So that's what the job does. Separate from that are the qualifications. So what do you want your ideal candidate's background to look like? So their experience, their education, that kind of thing. So, do I have something on that? No, I guess I don't. Anyway, we can look at it here. So this example I just pulled worked for me. Oh, come on. Okay. So here's a perfect example, because this is something that you guys could apply for. So it's an account executive at Paycom, Oklahoma City. So job description and then job qualifications. And so even if the job analysis is, let's say, performed by HR and they write the description, if you want to be a good sales manager and you want to be a part of that process, because you want, if HR is involved, like maybe you have to craft this, but let's say you don't and they do. You want to make sure that you have a heavy input, because this is who you're going to attract. Whatever's in this description and the qualifications, that's how they're going to screen. So description, who are your customers? Existing company relationships. So managing those relationships, that's their responsibility. Specifically, how are you going to do that? It's going to walk you through specific responsibilities. And again, this job is perfect for most of you. So, I send out my resume. Anyway, education, bachelor's degree, what you're working towards. Sales experience is preferred. If you're in this class, that tells me that you're probably on the sales track or sales major. So again, and then, other things, ability to influence, persuade, self-directed, manage your time, professional, communication skills, conflict resolution, etc. So those are all things that are going to go into, again, this is kind of the details up here, go into this. Okay. So really determining all these things, it looks very straightforward, but it's really a critical step, because, like I said, if you put out a job description that's not accurate, then you're going to get someone that maybe isn't qualified for the job that you're hiring for. And you want to look at a good pool of applicants. So I'm going to stop here to start the next video.